Hi, today we are going to talk about a lesson which is very near to my heart, which is a beautiful story. It's very heart touching. It talks about the importance of language in our life. Have you ever noticed a currency note? Well, this is a currency note, right? This is a 500 rupees currency note. Have you ever noticed what is written there? So here, see this part. So many languages are there. I counted, there are around 15 languages, and along with Hindi and English, it becomes 15, 16, 17 languages. We are indeed very fortunate to be born in a country which has such diversity, such linguistic diversity. We have different types of food, different types of songs, and then dances and dress, and of course there is the linguistic diversity. So language plays a very important role in our life. Some languages, we call those languages mother tongue. For example, for me, now I'm speaking in English, but English is not my mother tongue. I can speak in Hindi much better than English, but then Hindi is also not my mother tongue. My mother tongue is Bengali. So why is Bengali my mother tongue? Why not English? Why not Hindi? The word mother tongue, it comes from two words. Tongue, this is our tongue which we use for speaking. The language, it refers to the language, and it also refers to our mother. You love your mother, right? Yeah, we all do. We love our mothers. We love them a lot. I love my mother a lot, and then I also respect her. When I was born, I was not born with the ability to use any language. I can simply make sounds like that. Ah, or ah. Have you ever noticed how children cry? Wah, 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 like that, right? So that is not language. These are just some sounds to express emotions, like say hunger. But then a language is a much more complicated thing. So I learned my first language from listening to another person use that language. Who is that person? That person was my mother. We all have learned our mother tongues by listening to our mother using that language, or by listening to someone who brought us up, so who was involved in bringing us up. So that person used a particular language. When we were small babies, then we got an opportunity to listen to that language. The more we listened, the more we learned, and thus we learned our mother tongue. For that, we need not go to any school. We need not read any grammar book, or for that matter, any textbook. This is a textbook, so we need not read any textbook. And school is also necessary. What is important is just to be exposed to that language. Someone who cared for us, someone on whom we depended, someone for whom we had a lot of love in our heart. On that person depended our very survival. So the language used by that person was very important for us. So we learned that language by listening to it, and then we will of course love to listen to the voice of our mother. Now, whenever I listen to the same language. I'm a Bengali, as I said, so my mother tongue is Bengali. So whenever I listen to the sound of someone speaking in that language, immediately it connects to my heart. I feel good inside. Why do I feel good inside? Because the language reminds me of my mother. So you see, a language is something very important. It's connected to our emotions. It's connected to who I am, and it's all about how I am able to express myself, how I am able to communicate, how I am able to tell others about what is going on inside me. So language is all about that. Language is very, very important, and in a way, language is the difference that we have from the animals. Yeah, animals do also use language. For example, wolves do howl. They do like that, howl, right? So that is also a sort of a rudimentary language, a basic language. And then dogs do bark, and then say a goat also does something like this. So that is also a language, but then it's not as complicated as human language. It is we as humans has developed a very complex system of communication by the use of words which produce different sounds, and the subtle differences in those sounds give us an ability to express very complicated thoughts, and on all that expression depends civilization. So language plays a very important role in human society, and language gives me my identity, because the language, my first language, I picked up from my mother. And then of course I learned Hindi in school from my friends more than from my teachers. And then there was English. I learned more from reading storybooks. And then also watching movies. And then now I can also speak a little bit of Assamese, because my present posting is in a place which is in Assam. So here the language which is used is most of the time which is used is Assamese. So I have learned a little bit of Assamese. So language is important. We understand that. Language is about identity. That also we understand. Now, in this story, what you find is that this story in fact talks of a very unfortunate situation. Why unfortunate? Because it's not good to take away somebody's language by force and then compel that person to learn some other language that the person will not want to learn. So it's not good to do anything like that. It's not good to impose a culture from outside just for political reasons. Because culture and language is connected to heart, and we as humans we are made by our emotions, made by our culture, and therefore it's not at all nice to take away somebody's culture, to take away somebody's language, because it creates a lot of resentment, and that also results in a lot of psychological violence, which may translate into physical violence, and then which may result in conflicts. So the name of our lesson is The Last Lesson, and this is written by Alphonse Daudet. Here I would like to point out something. See, this lesson has got some words which are difficult to pronounce. I won't say difficult, but then deceptive, because the words are spelled in a way and then not pronounced exactly in that way. So I'd like to point out that the very name of the author. See the name of the author. The first I have written here. I have written The Last Lesson. Is it visible? The Last Lesson. and then below that what is written? This is the name of the author. It is spelled as Alphonse Daudet, but we do not pronounce it like that. We pronounce it Alphonse Daudet, Alphonse Daudet, Alphonse Daudet, Alphonse Daudet. So that is the pronunciation. That is the name of the author. Then the lesson talks about the setting. The setting of the lesson is a post-Franco-Prussian war. What is it? Not Prussian, it's Prussian. Franco-Prussian war, and the year is 1870-71. Franco-Prussian war, 1870-71. And then it talks about the annexation of two northern districts of France. France is a country in Europe, so northern districts. So what are those two northern districts? Alsace. This is Alsace. Alsace and Lorraine. This is Alsace and Lorraine. See, Alsace and Lorraine. The northern districts are Alsace and Lorraine. Yeah. And the lesson ends with a call in honor for the motherland, and it is also written in French, the language of the country. The name of the country is, here I have written France, and the language of the country is, what is the language of the country? French. France and French, remember the difference. And in the end it's written, this is Viva la France, Viva la France. It translated into English, it means long live France. The way we say in our country, Jai Hind. So it's the same thing, Jai Hind, long live the motherland. So the same thing, long live France, Viva la France. This is what? Viva, not vive, Viva. Viva la France means long live France. And then, yes, in this story there are two very important characters. In fact, it's the story about the relationship between these two characters. The first character is that of a little boy. His name is Franz. See, the name is F-R-A-N-Z, Franz. F-R-A-N-Z, France. So don't get confused now. So the name of the country is France, the language is French, and the name of our narrator, the little boy who tells us the story, his name is Franz. What is the spelling? F-R-A-N-Z, France. Yeah, F-R-A-N-Z, France. And it is the relationship between Franz and his teacher. The name of the teacher written last, it is M. Hamel. What is the name of the teacher? M. Hamel, H-A-M-E-L, M. Hamel. So this is the story of the relationship between M. Hamel and Franz, and about linguistic identity. And there is another thing. See, the last thing is about the title of the lesson, and why is it the first lesson. So interestingly, the last lesson is the first.